Hey everyone, welcome to Chickenstein Lives with Scott and Owen. I'm Owen.
I'm Scott. Whoop.
Go ahead.
And I'm the other one.
Yes. You might want to say your YouTube name, because I can never pronounce it.
My YouTube name is Costin Bromstar.
Yes. And even though this is the first episode, we have a special guest. I know him as Travis. Probably know him better as Planet Beer Wagon.
Hello, everybody.
And we're going in this crazy, no planning, because we're evil. But I want to talk about Bigfoot. Because you know I love Bigfoot.
Yes, that's true, you do.
I actually saw a thing online the other day I meant to send you. It was an action figure they made for that music festival they called the Sasquatch Music Festival.
Yeah.
They made like a little Bigfoot action figure that they sold at that festival. That was pretty cool. It was, kind of a stylized type thing. Kind of goofy looking, but I thought you might get a kick out of it.
Nice. I mean, the only good kind of thing I've seen a Bigfoot was a statue, but it was like, $300 or something. I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah, those statues can be pretty pricey. I'm always surprised when I see like comic book stores on TV and they'll have all those statues, all the superheroes and stuff. I'm surprised they can even afford to stock those, because most of the time those are at least $150.
Didn't they make remember the Bionic Man action figure from the 70s? Didn't they make the Bigfoot one?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
That would be a sweet action figure to get. But I've never seen one for sale anywhere.
Yeah, I know the Bionic Man one shows up on a lot of those shows, like the picking and collecting shows, but I don't think anybody's ever bought a Bigfoot.
That's a reason for that.
Yeah, I don't know what his superpower would be, because you could look through Steve Austin's head through his eye, and he had all the little bionic parts that would come out of his legs and arms, but the other one's just hairy. I don't know, maybe if you squat him, he goes like do or something. I don't.
Edible fur.
He's standing by a tree and you can't see him. That's his title.
He's got chameleon powers.
There was a model kit, too, that was supposed to be Bigfoot, but it looked nothing. He was standing on like a glowing green pool and he had a loincloth on. I'm like, that's not Bigfoot. What is that?
What the hell?
Like a caveman.
When you think about it, it's kind of really not as explored as some of those other creatures are. I mean, there's thousands of versions of Frankenstein and werewolves in action figure form.
Mm-hmm.
But where's Bigfoot?
Yeah.
And not the damn monster truck.
There's plenty of those.
Yeah.
I think the only one that comes close to those is probably the Yeti and stuff like that.
And even the Bigfoot mythology is something they haven't done a lot with in movies, other than Harry and the Henderson.
Overall, mostly crappy horror movies.
And I suppose there's probably a couple or a few dozen maybe even that I've never heard of. I imagine there's probably a lot of those found footage type movies. I think there was one that came out right after the Blair Witch. But like you said, they're pretty shitty.
Yeah, there's some other family friendly ones too. Like baby Sasquatches and shit like that. You
remember there was the Harry and the Hendersons TV series?
It's pretty sad if the best Bigfoot movie out is Harry and Henderson.
Well, the TV series was basically like a reverse Alf. So a tiny little furry creature, this giant furry creature. He had to hide from everybody.
And he ate dogs.
Well, maybe not that far, but
Is he a vegetarian?
I do not know. I know that's one of the things I've heard of some people say he is. One of those theories.
Yeah, There's plenty of theories. They also have theories that he can outrun a deer and jump on it and break its back. And he eats meat, obviously, if he's killing deer.
Yeah. There was a real Ghostbusters episode about Bigfoot, but even it wasn't very good.
Was it a ghost Bigfoot?
No. I think it was one of those things, because they tried to incorporate other supernatural stuff on the shows. They did werewolves and vampires and stuff, and somebody must have said, oh, we better do Bigfoot. And there's some episode where they all went, I suppose they were going on vacation and went camping, so of course they stumbled across Bigfoot.
That's just silly.
And they, found out that he, entered our world through, a secret portal that was behind a waterfall or some shit like that. It was, from one of the last seasons, so, of course it was one of the shittier episodes.
I need to watch it now.
No, I'm sure it's probably on YouTube. I think it may have even been one of the short, 15-minute episodes. Because they started doing that towards the end. Where they do 2 15-minute stories. Oh, yeah. I just found it. The real Ghostbusters camping it up.
So, I guess I want to ask you guys. Do you believe? Is he real?
Who, Al Gore?
Al Gore.
No.
Yeah. Is Al Gore Sasquatch?
Sasquatch. Skunk ape. Yeti.
Yeah, man, I think there's some big hairy thing out there. I mean, the original footage, of the Bigfoot, that was from was that the early 70s that footage was from?
I think that might have been from the 50s.
Oh, was it that early? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think from one of them, first, crappy home color cameras that you could get back then.
Yeah.
8mm film reel.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there could quite possibly be something out there like that. I remember as a kid taking some books out of the library after seeing that footage on some late night show and reading all about Canadian monsters and stuff, and a lot of them didn't sound feasible whatsoever, but that one out of all of them just seemed like it could be a reality, I guess.
I'm open to it. I stated many times I'm kind of a believer in a lot of those things, supernatural and whatnot, so I think with the amount of sightings and stuff, there has to be something.
I'm a fan of Bigfoot, but lack of evidence makes it hard to believe.
Yeah.
I believe in the ghosts and stuff, but I think a lot of the shows about that kind of thing are bullshit, so.
Ghost Adventures.
Yeah. That one's a pretty sad excuse.
How, even this day and age where everything has an HD camera attached to it, the footage is still shaky and just complete garbage.
It's like they try to find the oldest, crappiest camera in a secondhand store so that they can go and videotape something. It's on the off chance that they might get an actual camera footage of a monster, they have the oldest, crappiest camera they could find. I found this Kodak camera with half the emulsion in it, so there's only a little bit of a picture.
Literally, I have a point and shoot picture camera that does 720p, and I'm almost positive I could run through the woods and have a better picture than any of the Bigfoot evidence out.
You just see you running through the woods full speed screaming, ah! Click, 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 click. Boy, these are really good pictures.
Wouldn't you shit your pants if you did that and you come back and look at the pictures and then you find one of Bigfoot peeking around a tree?
I probably would.
What the?
And nobody would believe it anyways.
I think that's the problem, is that if somebody came in with crystal clear 720 footage of it, and people would be, oh, it's just a guy in a costume.
Yeah, I think you're right. If anybody ever really did take footage and did find footage, they just say, oh, it's just CG or something.
Bullshit.
It ate my dog! Yeah, well, that's CG. No, it ate Sparky!
There's gonna never be any true, I mean, other than the true believers, but like, until there's a body thrown on a table somewhere, no one's gonna truly believe.
Yeah, you'd think somebody would have shot one by now. Really.
And oddly enough, there's groups that are anti-kill. So if you see one, they're against you killing it, even though that'll prove that they're not crazy.
And even if somebody has managed to kill one, probably got covered up.
Well, now we're talking Men in Black.
It never got stuffed. It's never sitting in a lodge somewhere.
It's sitting in a tank in Area 51.
Yeah.
Like floating in a bunch of green ooze.
That'd be pretty funny, though, coming upon a scene where you and your buddies and your camera come around the corner and there's a Sasquatch, and around the other corner comes the anti-kill squad, and all three of you guys are staring each other down.
What?
Maybe they have captured one, and they're trying to figure out how it lives forever.
Are they immortal? They live forever?
That's my take on them. That's why we don't find any bones, or because they live forever, obviously.
It's probably a Sasquatch burial ground somewhere, like an elephant ground, where they just keep all the bones and nobody's found them yet.
I always kind of figured they probably had an expanded lifeline. I didn't know they would be immortal. Like, there'd be Sasquatch years.
Like dog years?
Yeah. Except it'd be reversed,
Yeah.
Someone was suggesting, was it a Viking? Where they put them on a raft and burn them.
Set them out to sea.
Yeah.
I was like, that's pretty intelligent.
Yeah, they're all at the bottom of a river somewhere.
So what about the movies? Other than Harry and the Hendersons.
That's the first one I thought of.
The one I always jump to and think about is Abominable. I'm even saying that right. Abominable.
Abominable?
Yeah. Have you guys seen that one?
No.
No.
Wasn't Cool Duder in one about Night of the Sasquatch or something?
That one was horrible.
There was one called Snow Beast.
Snow Beast.
It actually was a really slow movie, but then right near the end of it, it was worth the whole. I got it on a 50-pack, so it was like worth the whole quarter that I spent on it. You got to see him, and he got his arms chopped off. It was awesome.
Oddly enough, Lance Henriksen is in about 3 Bigfoot movies.
What else is he gonna do?
If you haven't seen Abominable, I suggest it. It's basically Rear Window with a Bigfoot. There's literally a guy in a wheelchair, and he sees a Bigfoot or Sasquatch, whatever you want to call it, outside this house, and he's looking through binoculars, and he's trying to warn the person, or the girls, of course they're all hot girls, and they just think he's a pervert looking in on them showering.
Would have been better if the Bigfoot was in the wheelchair with the binoculars.
I see somebody pitching that to Hitchcock. We like your script, but what if we threw in a Bigfoot?
A whole Hitchcock line that has all Bigfoots in the movies, eh? Oh my God. We could make millions. Psycho with a Bigfoot. Yes, mother, I'm coming.
I would suggest skipping the Sci-Fi Channel ones. God awful.
I've really not seen too much in the line of Sasquatch stuff, other than the original Bionic Man. The Croft Super Show put on a thing called Wild Boy and Bigfoot.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty good. Yeah, that's about it. And Snow Beast.
You read the comic, right?
Oh yeah, I've got the Richard Corbin, Rob Zombie comic that they put out. There was another Sasquatch comic too, actually. I'm trying to remember what it was called. He wasn't the main character, but he ended up being like the thing that was killing people in it. I can't remember what that is.
I know, what's that one? I haven't read it, but Proof, right? That's Proof with the
Oh, yeah.
Sasquatch detective.
Yeah, Proof is kind of, it's got like the mythological beasts and they kind of work together it's almost like a crime agency they try to uncover mysteries and stuff that might be monster related or whatever. And it's actually that was a really well written book. I don't know if it's still going or not, but it was good. It was really good.
He also showed up in a Daffy Duck and a Donald Duck one.
A cartoon?
No, comic.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't think you can say that big red hairy thing in Bugs Bunny was Bigfoot with the sneakers.
No, but there actually is an episode where Bugs and Daffy are going to go on vacation and they end up in the Himalayas. There's Abominable Snowman. And he's like, I would love you, and he keeps hugging. He wants a rabbit, basically.
Oh, so, I remember that one. Yeah.
And then he melts. Apparently he was snow.
Oddly enough, they put a lot of Bigfoot and Yeti type creatures in the eerie and creepy magazines back in the 70s. Like almost every other issue had one of those creatures in it. And I remember as a kid thinking to myself, like, why do they keep using these, Bigfoot creatures? Because I didn't find them scary as a kid. Now, scare the hell out of me, like you going out in the woods somewhere and this big, huge, hairy guy's ripping your arms off and eating you. But there was a lot of Bigfoot and Yeti creatures in those magazines back in the day.
Apparently, Daniel Boone killed a Bigfoot.
Really?
That's what people were claiming.
Like in the TV show or in real life?
No, like in real life, apparently Daniel Boone killed a Bigfoot.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't know how you'd prove it, but there you go.
I don't know.
Speaking of something completely random, it was on DeviantArt. This guy made this unbelievable digital art picture of Teddy Roosevelt shooting a Bigfoot with a machine gun. It's freaking amazing.
Oh, you'll have to send the link, man. That sounds awesome. Wow.
Either of you guys ever see that show narrated by Leonard Nimoy, that In Search of?
Yes.
I think it was like from the early 70s, but when I was a kid, one of the local stations would air it like right before prime time, like in the early 80s and stuff when I was growing up. I think they had about 5 or 6 episodes about In Search of Bigfoot.
And it lended so much to the quality of the show because you got Leonard Nimoy talking about Bigfoots. Well, if Spock's talking about it, it's got to be real.
According to eyewitness reports.
Didn't they have Unsolved Mystery as well?
Yeah. My mom was a big Unsolved Mysteries fan. She always hated it when they started dipping into the supernatural stuff. She's like, why do they gotta put these stupid ghost stories? You gotta fill an hour somehow.
Those were actually really, really good shows, too. I see that they brought a big, huge box set out of that Unsolved Mysteries show.
Oh, I think the Lifetime Network still airs them, and they do updates on them sometime.
Oh, wow.
At least on, like missing persons and wanted murderers and stuff like that. But
yeah. I think they have an update on the Lindbergh baby every 10 years. I think that maybe they should bring Bigfoot back and put him on TV, like throughout commercials. Like, remember the old, hey, you got your chocolate and my peanut butter. I think that would be good. They should do some old commercials with like, monsters like Bigfoot and the Yeti and stuff. I think they would sell more chocolate bars that way.
Well, there was that beef jerky campaign for a while.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I did too until you brought up.
Oh. They probably moved 1 million units of beef jerky when that came out.
I'm looking at that picture Owen sent us. Why does he have a radiation symbol on his belt buckle?
I don't know. Why does he have a machine gun?
Oh my God, that is amazing. Yeah, like the belt buckle. Oh man, that's awesome.
I'll make sure to include a link under the video. But that guy has a whole series of. There's one of Lincoln punching a bear or shooting a bear.
Nice.
I think the only thing that would make this picture better is if his pants were coming down a bit and you could see that he had nylons on. He was the guy who wore nylons, wasn't he? Or am I wrong?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I think you're thinking of J. Edgar Hoover.
Oh, okay. It was Hoover. Well, that's a good thing then. Then people would really be upset, wouldn't they? What the hell's he got nylons on for? I knew one of them was a cross-dresser. I just didn't know which one.
So, Scott, have you watched Finding Bigfoot?
No, I have not.
No?
No.
Man, I was excited to talk about that show.
Sorry to burst your bubble.
I'll talk about it anyways.
Okay,
so ridiculous. It's literally a show on Animal Planet about finding Bigfoot. And so far, I've not seen any Bigfoots in it.
Have they found even like a footprint?
I guess you could call it a footprint. It usually starts with watched a clip on the internet and found it appealing or believable. They go to the spot, meet the person, talk to them. They bring them to where it is. They'll investigate. Then they have like a town meeting where the town comes in and they tell all their Bigfoot stories. And then they'll take 3 or 4 that they find interesting or believable, and then they'll go to that area and they'll stay out all night and do investigations. It's basically like hunting for ghosts, but it's Bigfoots.
Mm.
And then they do all their ways of doing it, like they yell. Apparently Bigfoots yell. And then they knock on trees. And then at the end of the show, the guy says, "This area is squatchy. I know they're here."
So I suppose if they had the cameras rolling and you heard somewhere off in the distance, "Hey guys, there's some people over there," maybe that would be like Sasquatches warning their own people?
I don't know, but I cannot stop watching it, even though it's ridiculous. It's on Animal Planet, which I assume that it would actually have animals on the show.
Like I was told you before, all I've ever really seen is the clips they show on the soup. And it always just kind of seems like an excuse, like he'll say, Sasquatch is like pizza, so he'll get a bunch of pizza and sit down and eat it. So it's like basically an excuse for him to find stuff to eat. Oh, Sasquatch is like bacon and donuts, so he'll bring out a bunch of bacon and donuts and sit there and eat it. Like, I'm luring him out by eating his food.
What he's doing is he's showing him that it's not poisoned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what he says anyways.
Well, being half animal, you'd think that they would know if anybody was in the vicinity anyways, right? They'd be able to smell them or whatever. Like, I smell Old Spice. I think there's humans nearby.
Well, like you said, I can't believe Animal Planet would clear such a thing. At least not for like an ongoing series. I'd see if they did like a special, but something that you put on every week. Like, to only get the same results every time, pretty much. Except, change up the menu.
That'd be like Animal Planet doing like a story on the Mothman just because Moth is in the title.
Was there any other crypto animals you want to talk about?
I remember reading about the whole Loch Ness Monster thing, and, they still say there's Loch Ness Monster and everything. But the guy who took that photograph, the famous one, on his deathbed, he said that it was a hoax, that he had thrown in it was a big, huge stick or whatever that had ice on it or whatever, and it was floating a weird way, and he took a bunch of pictures, and that's what that was. And it's so funny how, you have somebody who clearly perpetrated a hoax has come forward and said it was a hoax, and then they have died, and people just like, yeah, whatever. Anyways, there's still a big monster out there. It's so funny to me that people still, just kind of, they want to believe because, it's magical to believe in monsters, I guess.
Not only that, I'm sure just those stories bring out a lot of tourists. So,
oh yeah,
you don't want to kill that industry.
That's right.
But,
yeah.
Here in Vermont, we supposedly have Champ, which is basically the same thing. It's in Lake Champlain, and they even named whatever the baseball team is. I don't even know if it's even a minor league, but it's called the Vermont Lakeside Monsters. And their mascot is like a guy looks like a green Barney suit to me.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say we have a similar thing here in Montana. We have a lake called the Flathead Lake, and supposedly there's some kind of creature in there too. But they always say it's more of like a giant fish monster, so.
Pretty sure pretty much every place has some type of monster.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. There's the famous one in, I know, BC is the Ogopogo one, which is like a horse-headed monster in the water, I guess. Canada's got quite a bit, but a lot of that's come, I think, from like native. They said this, like a lot of them have like a native background or whatever.
Yeah, even Bigfoot originates from, or is in native stories.
I guess we're all kind of in the States with a lot of wooded areas, or places with a lot of woodland areas, so there's always going to be legends and stuff about creatures in the woods and in the enormous bodies of water and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about, like, I mean, the ocean and the sea, there's stuff in there that people have never seen, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If they came up to the top, people would be freaking out because of what they look like.
Like the giant squid, they didn't believe that existed.
With the lake here is a deep lake that there's parts of it where they've never reached the bottom, so, of course that's the theory, is there's shit in there we've never seen.
Mm-hmm.
Which is probably true. I don't know if there's a giant fish monster in there, but there's probably some shit down there we've never seen.
There's one in Minnesota. I can't pronounce it. It's the Oampenanagagoag.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, they said it's like an overgrown lake sturgeon that eats, like, dead things.
I think one of the best ones I was reading about, I don't remember where it is, it's somewhere overseas. It's basically a graboid from Tremors.
I remember seeing something about that.
I was like, oh my god, yes, graboids. Get your dynamite and your remote control car is ready.
But it's creepy to me, like, I can't even remember the name of the fish, but, like, the fish they come across in Finding Nemo, it looks like a skeleton with the light bulb thing on its head.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing is real. Could you imagine coming face to face with one of those?
Yeah, those are freaky looking.
I don't know. I think a shark's scary enough for me,
Oh, hell yeah.
I don't need to make it something larger. They can walk on land as well.
Well, I mean...
Octo shark.
I believe it's called the sharktopus, yes.
Sharks are nothing but like huge tubes of muscle with rows of teeth. What the hell is scarier than that?
Land shark?
Yeah, I suppose.
Which is a movie, actually, there's a movie called Sand Shark.
Yeah, I saw that DVD case.
I kind of want to watch it. It has Brooke Hogan in it.
There's that show right now on Sci-Fi Channel about the guy that builds, like, all the special effects creature.
Yeah.
Like, the first episode, he was building a two-headed shark for some movie, like, double-headed shark attack or something like that. And they were arguing about how the two shark heads should be positioned on the shark, if they should be side by side or on top of each other.
Like a double-barreled shark gun. It's an over-under.
Brooke Hogan is also in that.
Nice.
Yeah, at least she's got a career of some kind.
Because that singing one didn't pan out, obviously.
Yeah, not too well. And like, wasn't like Debbie Gibson and Tiffany, weren't they in a couple of those?
Yes, they were.
Asylum pictures.
Oh, yeah, Debbie Gibson. Whatever happened to her?
She's doing bad movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's on this recent season of that Celebrity Apprentice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Usually, that's another one that I usually only see clips of, like, on the soup. But it's like, every chance she gets, she tries to find an opportunity for herself to sing somehow. Nobody wants to hear you fucking sing, Debbie, okay?
They didn't want to hear you sing the first time. Oh, man, yeah. She was like, I think I was in grade 9 when that chick first started, and it was like, oh, this is not going to be well received. And strangely enough, there was like a lot of girls that really did like that, and I never understood that. Not being a girl myself, I suppose, but
I was in about 7th or 8th grade when she popped onto the scene, and I was kind of in my rebellious phase where I didn't listen to anything that was popular. So,
what were you listening to?
Like Weird Al, mostly.
Nice.
Speaking of Tiffany, have either one of you seen a documentary called I Think We're Alone Now?
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty weird.
Kind of freaked me out.
It's been a while since I watched it, but I remember I heard about it like 2 years before I got a chance to see it. Then it popped up on Netflix. Instant watch one day, and I finally checked it out.
Was it pretty bad, though?
It's about stalkers.
Yeah, there's like, was it like 2 different guys that were obsessed with her and have been writing letters to her for like 20 years?
And in their minds, they're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's the price for fame, boy, I'll tell you.
And then the original song is way better than Tiffany. I'm saying it.
It's kind of weird to think about that stalking thing. Like, why would you hang on to somebody like Tiffany who kind of disappeared from the spotlight?
Yeah, it's going to be that much harder to like find out stuff about her, right?
I don't know. One guy was going after pretty much everyone. He's like, I met Jennifer Love Hewitt when I went to her house.
Yeah, that's true.
I showed her my knife and she didn't like it. I never understood that whole going to the people's house. Like, wasn't there that crazy chick who broke into David Letterman's house like 3 or 4 times before they put her in jail?
Yeah.
Like, David Letterman, don't you think that guy would have somebody hired to stop people getting into his house? Like, she couldn't have been that smart. I mean, she was just a housewife. Like,
I think I was saying with Dave is he doesn't like shit like that. He doesn't want to have to deal with security and just wants to live a normal life with his millions of dollars.
Yeah. It's strange though, you know, like, I mean, if it was me, if somebody broke into my house once, then I would take some kind of precautions. But I mean, after the 2nd or 3rd time, like, geez, shoot her or something, like anything.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like you can just write her off and say she's just a harmless housewife, because who fucking knows?
Yeah, the 4th time, she could be in there with a chainsaw. Nobody stalks people like, remember Andy Kaufman? Like, you know, those are the kind of people I'd like to see stalking people, because you got to be crazy to stalk people like that. So, the Lodka stalker.
You know, I'm sure he probably had a few.
Some crazy Lithuanian chick.
I mean, all some stalkers do is write you crazy letters every day, so, you know. But then, you know, occasionally you get the ones that show up at your front door and try to crawl through the bathroom window or whatever.
Oh, man. That'd be pretty creepy if you're sitting there trying to take a poop and somebody's trying to come in through your window.
As a few years ago, remember, Brad Pitt had a stalker that they arrested after pulling her out of his house, and she's actually from the town I live in. So when that came out, I was like, oh, great, there's our claim to fame. Fucking nut job trying to crawl into Brad Pitt's bed.
No, can't blame her on that.
Okay. I got a funny Brad Pitt story. One of my buddies that lives here in town, his parents moved into this huge old, I don't know, it's Victorian era house, and it's kind of beat up. It's not really nice or nothing, but it's one of only 5 houses, I guess, that still remains from this particular architect. So anyways, Brad Pitt and this Angelina Jolie chick wanted to come down and see it because I guess they were thinking about having one built or buying one or something like that, but they wanted one from this guy. So my buddy's like, we should go down, man, when they come down and just like take pictures of them and stuff. I'm like, nah, I'm not really interested in either of those people, man. So, but they never did. I guess they never did come and see the house, but I thought that would have been kind of neat.
Frickin' stalker.
Yeah.
In all the annoying TV coverage, I know I've heard before that Brad Pitt's like a huge architecture nut, so he probably would do something like that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Just like this last week talking about his engagement, I guess he took like a year designing Angie's ring. Like,
oh, wow.
Whoop-de-doo! No. That's the thing that drives me nuts. So I kind of grew up watching these shows like Entertainment Tonight and stuff, and you'd always get like behind the scenes of some movie or TV show, and now it's all about like who Kim Kardashian is banging, or you know.
Yeah, those Kardashians are just, oh man, horrible. I haven't watched not one single thing that they've been on, but all I hear is that they just dominate almost any kind of news media.
Which is odd, because there's, one semi-attractive one, and then there's like 3 or more completely manly, ugly ones.
Well, they're so hairy, and that's the thing I keep hearing, so I looked some of them up, and some of them are, like, they just real hairy. Big old hairy forearms.
Could they possibly be Sasquatches?
That's what I was just going to say. Perhaps they are.
Connection made.
It has come full circle. Bigfoot and Kardashian. Is there any similarity?
I just cringe because you know there's kids out there that look up to those people. Like that's something to aspire to be some vacant douchebag.
Better to look up to a clown or something like that. Something that's not harmful.
What if it's an insane clown?
Well, there's not a lot of them out there anymore, I guess.
There's a posse of them.
I was just waiting for you to say that, man. I knew you were going to say that.
Posse of 2, anyways.
Yeah, but oh, of course, there's a Sid Haig clown too. So.
And Pennywise.
Oh yes, and the killer clowns from outer space. I guess there is a lot of them. I'll just take that back then.
Clowns are just creepy. People still even do that.
Dress up like clowns?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
Like,
sure.
Do people actually want to hire clowns for their kid's birthday party?
Oh, I don't know if they still do that.
I think that may be on the downswing, but I mean there are still plenty of circuses and stuff. So, and you know, you got those Shriners dressing up like clowns on the weekend. Oh, last night I saw The Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, how was that?
It's so hard because I really liked it a lot, but it's so hard to talk about it without spoiling anything. I don't want to say too much.
Now I'm interested.
Yeah, I'm interested too. Do it, man. Do it.
Is there like a clown Bigfoot?
I thought it was pretty fan-freaking-tastic.
Nice. Well, if it's got the beer wagon approval, seriously, man, there's going to be a lot of people that'll watch it. I'm going to watch it now anyway.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to like it, and then a lot of the, like I said, the people that are those kind of die-hard, the ones that seem to love a horror movie no matter what, I think they're the ones that are like, oh, that sucked, because it wasn't the same shit we watch every week.
Yeah. Has anybody seen that movie that's just come out? I can't remember what it's called. It's like the monsters fighting each other. Like a ring match or whatever, but it's just different monsters.
Oh, that looks horrible.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. Do you remember?
I can't remember. I know it's full of actual wrestlers.
Oh, is it really?
Well, some of them are.
With makeup on. Some without makeup.
If it's what I'm thinking you're thinking of.
I guess I don't even really know what you're talking about.
It just came out on video on DVD like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Is it Monster Brawl?
Yeah, that's it. Monster Brawl. Like watching one of those not wrestling, the real fighting. See, I don't even watch that stuff. I don't know what it's called. What do they call those? MMA. Yeah, my wife does. How sad is that? The MMA stuff, but with like monsters.
It's got Kevin Nash, who's a wrestler. Lance Henriksen as the voice of God, of course.
Oh my goodness.
Jimmy Hart as himself, so obviously it's wrestling based.
Speaking of Lance, really quickly, did you guys see that Prometheus trailer yet?
Yeah.
I don't know if Lance is going to be in that, but wouldn't that be perfect if he was? I mean, I know it happens before the alien stuff, but I mean, still. Anyway, okay, sorry. Go ahead there, Owen.
Oh, there's just a character called Sasquatch Sid Tucker.
Yeah, I guess I'd probably lose some of my geek cred, but I guess I've never really been huge into those alien movies, so.
There's a lot of people that didn't like those or haven't watched them. Owen hasn't watched them because he's scared of them.
Not anymore.
Oh, come on. Have you seen the first one yet?
No.
Well, I'm not as scared.
I liked them. I guess I just don't hold them as a high regard as some people do.
Well, the first one was really good. The rest of them, they weren't that great. They kind of sucked, but the first one really was good. It's like The Shining, you know, like people have either seen The Shining and it has messed them up for the rest of their lives, like me, or there's people who haven't seen it. Like there doesn't seem to be many people in between that say, "Oh yeah, I saw it. It was just whatever." You know, like it either scarred you for life or you haven't watched it.
Yeah, I've actually been meaning to do a video about that because I've never really seen it. I mean, I watched it when I was a kid on TV with commercials, but I've never actually really sat down and just watched the whole movie all the way through without the bullshit. So I've been kind of meaning to sit down and watch it and do a video about it and see if it what I think of it as a 30-something-year-old who's never really seen the uncut version of the movie.
If you can find the version that has the full movie, there is a version out there that has, I think, 14 or 15 minutes that's added. And I thought, well, it can't be that much different. And I was really wrong. There's aspects of that movie that they put in there. It's just, I don't know. For me, that is the scariest friggin' thing I've seen. Cause it just, it's horrifying. I have a phobia of being in places that are like really, really huge where there's nobody around. The footage that they added was just stuff that lended to the creepiness of it. There's a part where, cause he sees these images that have already happened and not all of them are horrific, but they're all disturbing. And one of them is there's a guy sitting on a bed, like there's a door that is partially open and he's looking down a hallway and he sees a guy sitting down on a bed. You know, I'm thinking, okay, what's freaky about that? Well, then all of a sudden another guy stands up like from between his legs with a little bear mask on. And I'm thinking, oh my God, man, like is horrifying. You know, to think of anybody giving anybody oral sex with a mask on is scary enough. But I mean, like, he had like this little kid bear mask on, and then the door shuts. You know, stuff like that. It really lent to the creepiness of that movie.
Oh, Stanley Kubrick, you nuts.
The soundtrack to that movie as well is probably one of the most horrifying soundtracks. It's just, my nerves get like set on a degree that just from the time the movie starts to the time it's done, you know, I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna have nightmares, but keep talking about this stinking thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some stuff that as an adult I can't watch by myself. I was sitting here a couple weeks ago, and Poltergeist was on one of the umpteen versions of Stars that we have.
Oh my god, that movie is scary.
You know, it got to like the scene where the guy's peeling his face off.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, I guess I'm going to have to change the channel now.
That was a scary movie, though, man. Like, I remember when that came out in the theaters, and there was people walking out, and they were like, they looked like the blood was drained out of them. They were just like white.
Probably laugh at mine.
What's yours?
It's a movie with Snoop Dogg in it. I think it's called, is it Bones?
Oh, yeah.
It's
I never saw it, but I remember.
It's not necessarily scary. The movie sucked, but I don't like maggots and I don't like vomit. And there's a scene where it's CGI, but there's a scene where there's like dogs vomiting maggots, and I'm like, nope, I'm out.
Yeah, I think I gotta tell you that would probably get to me too.
Yeah, I'm not a big maggot fan either.
Shit I've seen at work.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Ugh.
There was one summer I took out the garbage. I think I was probably about 14 or 15. I lifted up the garbage can lid, and like about the like lower third of it was just crawling with maggots. It was like a hot day in August. And I still think about that every time I take out the garbage. Like, oh God, if I open up this lid and there are fucking maggots crawling on it.
What's behind lid number 1?
You want to hear a maggot story?
Oh,
Not
sure.
really.
It involves...
I'm the sucker, eh? Yeah, okay, yeah.
It involves a dog with holes in it and maggots coming out of it.
Yeah.
And
okay, I'll pass.
No, that's pretty much the story.
That's good enough.
Is the dog still alive?
Yes.
Ah.
I don't know, they were like laid under the skin, and then they just kind of put holes and they just kind of pop out. Ugh, I almost puked right on top of that dog.
Yeah, I probably would have.
And of course, for like a day straight, you just feel stuff crawling on you.
Oh, that's the worst part, man. When I see anything like that, I always feel like I'm itching. I gotta itch every part of my body.
I still can't watch The Exorcist by myself.
That is a horrifying movie.
My sister watches it all the time. She's like, I'm going to watch The Exorcist. I'm like, you really got to make it sound like so much fun?
Yeah, right, eh? Well, you know, my wife and I, one of the things we do is counseling with people, and we have had a few people that we've done some counseling with that have had, let's just say, there were spiritual connotations there. And I know that some of the things that happened in that movie were based on fact. I don't know how much. But I can really see how some of that stuff to a certain degree could happen to people. Like it's pretty horrifying when you see that stuff up close, you know, and it's not on a screen. It's pretty freaky.
Right. My sister works with, like, special needs adults. And I mean, you can see, like, when you hear the stories of people getting killed in exorcisms in the 1600s or whatever, you know, you can see why maybe people might have thought they were possessed. Or
there was I can't remember her name. There's a YouTube, what the hell is her name? I think her first name was Anna something. I don't know if she was Russian or German or what, but there's some stuff on YouTube about her. There's some actual audio footage and stuff, and they were trying to exorcise her or whatever. She's actually one of the more famous cases that was public about what happened to her, and I read some stuff online, and that was really, it's one of those things that after I had read it, it had disturbed me to the point where I wish I hadn't have read it, because she ended up dying, but it was just horrendous stuff.
Yeah, that's so. I mean, even if they're acting, I really have a hard time watching people. You know, you always see these videos like real exorcism footage or real possession footage or whatever. Like, I can't watch that shit.
Yeah, it's definitely not a pleasurable thing. You know, it's not even something that is, you know, entertaining watching. It's just kind of like, you know, let's bypass this. Let's hope these people get some help. You know, like, jeez. I'd rather see a dog with maggots in it, actually, now that I think of it.
Because some people will say those movies aren't that scary, but I guess it depends on what you believe in, too.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right.
It's a lot of people that call themselves atheists or whatever. So that movie's not very scary. Like, well, I guess it depends.
Yeah. Well, we've counseled some people that were, you know, they didn't believe in anything, and then all of a sudden, you know, they were starting to have some stuff, you know, happen, and trying to figure out, like, what the heck was going on, and having a real hard time with it because they didn't believe in anything, and it's like, well, yeah, you know, sometimes that happens, I guess, I don't know. It's like the Amityville Horror, right? Like, I mean, you guys all know what that was based on, right? The house where that guy killed his family and stuff, and then,
right.
And then in the 70s, they just kind of cashed in on the fact that it happened in that house, and then they made up all that fake stuff about, you know, the devil living under the house and all that other kind of stuff, which was just, that's all that was. They cashed in on the fact that some guy murdered his poor family there. But it still has that stigma attached to it, kind of.
The name Gozer in Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
That actually came out of the real case that the Poltergeist movie was based on. Is that name just appeared, like, written on the walls everywhere.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that's kind of like one of those freaky things. Like, okay, where did that come from?
Yeah. Speaking of Ghostbusters, I hadn't picked up any of those new IDW books, and I went out and I got all 7 of them. I only got about through half of them, I think. But I'm enjoying those comics. They're pretty fun.
Yeah, I think it was pretty well done. I was surprised after some of their early attempts.
Yeah, it seemed kind of based on real Ghostbusters, cartoonish kind of stuff, but it had a little more of an adult theme to it.
Yeah. I really dig that guy's art. I know some people don't really like it because it's too cartoony, but...
Yeah, I like it too. It really lends to the feel of Ghostbusters, I think. I love the cartoon, though.
Some of the fans annoy me. It's like, I guess, like around... And I didn't even notice this, but around issue 4 or 5, I guess, he started drawing the proton packs more screen accurate, and everybody's like, oh, thank God! Like... I guess I don't really give a shit about those kind of details, but more power to you, I guess. I mean, as long as it looks like a black box strapped to their back, I'm happy, you know?
I'm just happy if the writing, you know, like the actual storyline is good. I mean, that's what draws me more than being...
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
And I talked about it in my review of the first miniseries they did, That Other Side. And the guy that wrote that, like, pretty much openly admitted he was only vaguely familiar with the first movie.
Yeah, right. Which is pretty amazing if you think about it, eh?
Yeah. And, like, why? I mean, there are probably some big-name comic book writers out there that would jump at the chance to write that.
Yeah.
This guy's like, the first movie's okay, yeah. You douchebag. Let somebody else do it.
It's like this guy probably doesn't even know how much of a following there is with that movie, you know, like.
Yeah, that's kind of another annoying thing is, like, it doesn't seem like Sony knew what to do with it for a year. I mean, they could have been doing other things with it for years, and they just kind of didn't.
Well, it kind of lay dormant for a long time. The only thing that was really happening was, like, it seemed like there was still toys coming out.
All right. I mean, even like every year you can buy like a Rocky Horror Picture Show calendar. Why hasn't there been a Ghostbusters calendar every year? You know, stuff like that.
That's a good point. How many Rocky Horror Picture Show calendars does a person need? Just one more.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of properties like that, and that was just kind of the first one that kind of came off the top of my head, but there's a lot of those movies like that have a calendar or something like that every year, and you think Ghostbusters would fit in there with all the Star Wars and Star Trek and whatever else, you know.
And Evil Dead. Man, I cannot believe how much Evil Dead merchandise there is after just, after 3 movies. Actually, after 2 movies. Even after just 2 movies, there was a ton of merchandise.
That movie's awesome.
I know that Bruce Campbell's cool. I got to meet him a couple of years ago at one of the comic conventions, and he was really the only guy who just took time and talked with people. Like, there was people online that were getting pissed off because they were standing there so long, but then when I watched him talking to people, there was a couple of girls who wanted to get into acting, and he took about 15, 20 minutes with them. And I thought, shit, man, that's awesome. Like, if that was me, I would love to have 20 minutes of this guy's time, But it was pretty cool. He was a really nice guy.
Someone I know met him. He said he was a huge dick.
Oh, really, eh? Isn't that weird?
I guess it depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could depend on the day, Everybody has a shitty day.
Yeah, that's right. And he's got a huge jaw. His jaw is huge. It's like Jay Leno jaw almost.
And a lot of it might depend on how I approach him, too.
Yeah.
'Cause I read his book, and you got people going, hey, Ash, how's it going? Ash, what you doing, Ash? And it's hello, Bruce,
Yeah. Or if you come up with like 200 pieces of merchandise you want signed. I know that's one of the things that really set comic book guys up sometimes. I mean, if I get something signed, which is very rare, I'll take like 1 or 2 books and that's it. I've seen a guy was in front of me and he pulled out, had to be at least 40 books that he had in a bag that he wanted this guy to sign. And the guy looked at me, and I think it was Stuart Amonin, and he's like, do you mind if I sign all these? And I said, no, man, go ahead. That's cool. It doesn't matter to me. And he said, okay, because, this guy's got a lot of books. And the guy looked pissed off at me that he asked me, and I thought, well, you got like 60 books here, man. Like, geez, why do you need 60 books signed?
I would be embarrassed to ask for more than one, I think, but I know that's a thing that some of these people do. Show up with their, like, complete run. Like, here's 120 issues you wrote. Can you sign them all?
Yeah. And then they don't even talk to the guy. They get their books and they leave. And it's like, you were just standing before the guy who did these books, and you didn't even say a word to him. Like, that's what I don't understand about some of these comic fans and stuff. It's just like, wouldn't you rather just talk to the guy for a couple minutes, you know?
I'd ask Bruce Campbell about Icebreaker. You seen that?
No, what's
I think
that?
I saw part of it at least.
It's filmed in Vermont. And he's like a bad guy, and it has what's his name? Sean Astin from Goonies, Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing part of that.
They were gonna go to New York with this nuke or something, and it crashes on the mountain in Vermont. And then I gotta watch it again because I was confused. Pretty much Bruce Campbell was like, I have cancer, so I'm gonna blow this place up. I'm like, okay. But you don't question Bruce Campbell.
I know he did some like TV movie where he played like a husband and wife bank robber with a chick from Full House. That was Uncle Jesse's wife.
He's in Hercules and Xena.
Yeah. Well, that was because those were produced by Sam Raimi, so he'll pretty much do anything for Sam, I think. He was in all three of the Spider-Man movies, and he narrated the Spider-Man video game based on those movies.
He's very mean to you, too, if I remember right.
Yeah.
He's like, go push that blue thing. What, are you colorblind? I was like, what if I am?
Fuck you!
I'm colorblind.
See? He would have been mocking you.
Yeah.
I really like him on that. He's on that show Burn Notice now. Kind of that, like, washed up spy. Pretty much just sits around, like, drinking beer and mooching off of MILFs.
Mooching off the MILFs.
Yeah, like every season he's hooked up with like a different rich woman and like, buys them cars and shit. There you go. He's a pretty cool character on that show. That show he did, The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. was pretty good. That he did back in the 90s. That Fox canceled after one season.
Fox is the place where TV goes to die.
And on that note, thanks for joining us for episode 1 of Chickenstein Lives with Scott and Owen. I want to thank our special guest, Planet Beer Wagon. If you want to be in an episode or you want to ask us a question, just send a message to this channel and we'll get back to you either way.
Bigfoot my ass, you're just another perv in a suit trying to put their dicks in my beard. Bigfoot my ass, you're just another perv with a beard trying to put their dicks in my ass. Bigfoot my ass, Bigfoot my ass, Bigfoot my, Bigfoot my, Bigfoot my ass. Bigfoot my ass, you're just another perv in a suit trying to put their dicks in my beard.